INVICTUS by Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International. Title sponsors: College of Business Management, Delhi Bazaar, Kathmandu, Nepal Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Harisiddhi, Lalitpur. अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको क्यान्सर रोगको सम्पूर्ण उपचार अब एकै छाना मुनि. Co-sponsor: Skin Arts Aesthetics, Discover the New You. Supported by 7 o'clock Bakery Cafe Pulchok, Chia Pasa and Maids Premium. Media partner JanataTelevision. Welcome to the grand finale of INVICTUS 2020, organized by Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International, and brought to you by title sponsors: College of Business Management, Delhi Bazaar, Kathmandu, National Nepal Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Harisiddhi, Lalitpur. Co-sponsored by Skin Arts Aesthetics, Discover the New You, and supported by 7 o'clock Bakery Cafe, Chiapasa and Maids Premium, and media partner JanataTelevision. Toastmasters International is a world leader in communication and leadership development. Our organization has more than 340,000 members across the globe who attend more than 15,900 clubs spread across 142 countries that make up the global network of our meeting locations. We empower individuals to be effective leaders and communicators. The world today is in an uncertain situation, and most of us are probably scared about what is going to happen in future. Our career prospects, financial securities, our personal progress. COVID-19 pandemic has definitely become an impediment to how the world was progressing, and it has definitely scared us from what is going to happen in future. But then, humankind, from Stone Age to the fourth industrial age of today, has always been known to thrive. And that is why Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International envisioned INVICTUS 2020. We wanted to create a platform where individual stories of perseverance can be shared, so that combined we can all empower each other to become stronger in times of crisis. INVICTUS is an open video speech challenge wherein we called upon residents of Nepal to submit 2 to 3 minutes of video speech taken in a single shot without any editing on the theme resilience. During the course of 2 months after the registrations were called and before the video submissions closed, we also provided them with Toastmasters International curated speech development resources and also organized 2 webinars on the same by internationally acclaimed trainers. With that, it has become a wonderful experience to have come to this point of grand finale event. Now, while we patiently wait for the champions to rise, we still have few more things in store for you. Today in our studio, we have professional experts from different sectors of Nepal who are here to discuss how effective leadership and communication can shape the course of those sectors in times of crisis and beyond that. But before it, we have a special message from the Club Growth Director of District 41 Toastmasters International that is serving the clubs of Nepal, Bhutan, India and Bangladesh, and he's here to wish us all the very best for our discussion. Could we please have his message on the screen, please?
Hello everyone, this is Ayanpal DM, your Club Growth Director. The message I have for all of you leaders is, during such difficult times, lead with empathy. Don't just lead from the front, but lead from the back. Before asking someone to do something, ask yourself, would you be able to do the same thing? Remember, at the end of the day, the fruits may not be the way you expected them, but the efforts will always be remembered. And it is with our efforts that we can strive to take ourselves and our teams forward. I wish you all the best, and I hope this panel discussion is going to throw up wonderful ideas that you can implement to take your leadership to the next.
Welcome back. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Ayanpal. Like I said earlier, today in our studio we have three professionals from different sectors who are here to shed insight on how leadership and communication can help us during crisis. Today amongst us, we have distinguished Toastmaster Moon, who has had a decade of experience in media sector and a decade of experience in development sector. She is currently serving as the Division Director of Division A, District 41, Toastmasters International. Distinguished Toastmaster Moon. Again, our next panelist, we have distinguished Toastmaster Bhanu Dabadi, who has had 2 decades of experience in banking sector and is currently a mentor, trainer and professional coach. Currently, he is serving as the Associate Program Quality Director of District 41, Toastmasters International. And lastly, we have Toastmaster Avish Acharya, who is a chartered accountant by profession and has years of experience as a banker. He is currently serving as the Division Director of Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International. Welcome you all to this discussion.
Thank you.
So starting off with the obvious question in the beginning, what role do you think communication, or let's say effective communication and leadership, can have on shaping the course of your sector in current times and beyond these times? So maybe I'll ask these questions to all three of you, starting from Toastmaster Moon.
Thank you, Toastmaster Asira, for the question. Our sector is that of development sector. So we're working with the people in the grassroots, directly with the community. So leadership obviously has everything to do with communication. We are trying to bring about change in the community. We are trying to bring about some change in the behavior, or bring somebody who is not so privileged to a situation where they get some facilities, trainings that we work with the government to provide, and they are able to uplift their livelihood by participating in our programs and doing whatever we are asking them to do. So when we're asking somebody to do something, then it's very important that we communicate properly. So from the top leadership, where we have our organizations leader, to that of the governments, the federal government, the local government, the provincial government, everybody we have to coordinate, and the community people we have to coordinate. So for our projects, for our work to work properly, we need to be able to communicate with everyone at every level. And if we are not able to do that, then the leadership obviously would not be effective. So it goes without saying, communication has a pivotal role in every work that we do, and especially for the leadership roles that we have.
Definitely. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Moon. Of course, since the development sector is directly working with the community as well as the governments, it's important that our messages or their messages are communicated properly, and there's someone accountable on top looking after all the activities. Now, let's move on to distinguished Toastmaster Bhanu. What do you have to say about the sector that you're working on currently? How has COVID affected it, and how do you think leadership and communication can shape it in the days to come?
Thank you. This is unprecedented event. None were prepared for it. So the most challenging part was to adapt to this change that has come. So a lot of things that one had to resolve within before you could resolve outside. So many issues around. To be able to communicate with your fellow beings, the adaptation to the channel, the communication channel that evolved suddenly, Zoom and Google Meet and things like that, one had to know all that technical knowledge. So managing emotions that you were disturbed by COVID, that pandemic that did come, resolving yourself the emotionally, and adapting to these technological, these gadgets that you are surrounded with, and to be able to communicate to the other people, with the community. That is the most challenging. And I'm, as a teacher, as a mentor, as a coach, I also had to learn those skills first. And therefore, I had to teach people to communicate effectively and convey their emotions properly. So somehow, by now, people have adapted to. There are schools, there are colleges, there are trainings being now conducted in the different settings that we have. And I do see people from the time we got into pandemic, now probably have realized that we have to manage this, we have to adapt to this, we have to wear mask, and we have to go with the sanitizations, we have to wash our hands. So these basic behavioral pattern that we had to adapt people to. So that was the basic thing we had a difficulty helping people to understand and adapt to.
Okay, so of course in educational sector it was a sudden shift from a physical classroom setting to a virtual platform, and not everyone was tech savvy, and that must have been a really big challenge for the academic sector. Now let's move on to Toastmaster Avish. Now can you share with us how COVID has affected your sector, and then how effective communication and leadership can shape your sector in the days to come?
Thank you, Toastmaster Asira, for the question. And as I think about it, it's a very apt question, because in any corporate sector or any setup, people tend to look up to the leader for answers to all questions. And at this time, more so than ever. And during times of COVID, there is no one who has the right answer. And even leaders, they don't have the right answers because they don't know what is there to come. Therefore, I believe that at this point in time, leaders at the banking sector and any other sector for that instance should be open, honest and compassionate. They should be willing to tell to everybody that yes, we don't know the answers. Forget about long-term visions, because there is no solution. You don't know whether you're going to survive the next 6 months, the next 1 year, the next 18 months. You cannot talk about long-term vision. Maybe you would want to make short-term plans, stick to short-term plans, take feedback from all the stakeholders, and as you rightly pointed out, communicate. Because you have to over-communicate to all the stakeholders. In the banking sector, there are so many stakeholders, most importantly the customers. You would want to ensure that the customers, you are compassionate in your communication towards your customers, and also equally responsible towards your shareholders. Therefore, communicating with your employees is also important, because you would want to speak the message of resilience to your employees, and you want to ensure that everybody is willing to support you and help you thrive in the long run. Therefore, communication has a very important role to play in the banking sector or any corporate sector for it to thrive, for all the structures to be in place and for it to work.
Yeah, definitely. Just as in every sector, leadership is about accountability and also communicating with sincerity. Thank you very much on bringing light to that particular instance. Let me move on to Toastmaster Moon here. So you said that because we have to work with different tiers of community to different tiers of government in the development sector, communication is pivotal. But then could you give us the instance or maybe an experience that you've seen during this pandemic where somebody or a sector or someone or some organization has effectively practiced leadership and communication to make their intervention programs more effective? Is there an example you can recall at the moment?
Because of COVID and pandemic, of course, we haven't really been out and about and haven't really seen everybody doing their job. I can talk about the project that we're working with. We have CTVT, which is a government wing, who usually has trainings conducted through schools, and the community really benefit from that. But because of this COVID and all of us being locked down, everybody being in our own spaces, we really had to think fast. We had our partners who are automobile workshops. We had our partners who are tourism industry. We have our partners who are schools. They need to operate. They cannot be not operating at all. So our entire team, they worked very fast to make sure that there are certain trainings that are provided to these sectors. So we coordinated with the associations and industries so that we could come up with guidelines on safety procedures and protocols to follow, so that when, let's say, an automobile workshop has to start operating, which they have been operating, they couldn't afford to really shut down for a long time, what they could do to ensure that there was safety both for their staff as well as for clients who come in. So we had to go through all the protocols, like distinguished Toastmaster Banu said. using masks and everything, but at the same time, understanding who is coming in, keeping a record of that, making sure that the workplace is all safe, and conducting all these workshops over Zoom. So we really went about, CTVT was very proactive on this also. So all together, the industries, the government wing, as well as the development sector, we all worked together so that we could bring back the workers whom we are training to become workers, to go back to their workspace so that they are still safe and continue to make an earning and not have to stay at home.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Moon. Indeed, being agile at the moment is important, and I would like to thank CTVT for being so responsive in such times, because normally when we think of government-associated organizations, because of so many procedures attached to it, we normally think that they're not as responsive. But then you have really opened my eyes. Now let's move on to Toastmaster Bhanu. So you talked about virtual communication. Now this question is a little bit different from your sector, but I think pertinent to everyone all the same. So this world, I think it is gradually moving to virtual communication, and I'm guessing all of us agree that it's going to be a new norm. So how do you think Nepal, as a country which is really challenged and limited by the resources that are required for virtual communication, can introduce make it a norm in its education sector or any sector for that matter? And how can we as a general public slowly adapt to this new norm?
That reminds me of a recent story. Government of Nepal decided that there should be facilitated access to telecommunication for schools in a remote area. I think that was a very long pending infrastructure that we wanted. The kind of terrain that we live in Nepal, I think this kind of access to telecommunication should have been made available to those people earlier. But nonetheless, now that decision has been made, so the schools now can convert into the digital mode, subsidized access to those telecommunication facilities. And I recall the class that I teach, there is a boy from Rukum who attends on data and so dedicated. And if there is a rainfall, he gets disconnected and he feels so sad about, So there are people who are craving for access to educations. And what if we provide them access wherever they are, in whatever terrain they are in, and they will be at home, tato bhat khaera, kind of, gharko bhat khaera kind of thing. So if we can provide those educations through these channels of the communications, the infrastructure that we already have, can we provide them? And that way, I think the opportunity will be open to them, the global opportunity. The university that I teach is from America. A boy from Rukum is a student of. Because of the telecommunication facility that we have, if we can increase that facility, if we can improve the quality, if we can make it accessible to the people, human resource, we are very rich in, can we give that access to people so that they groom themselves to be world class? And Nepal already has got that potential. Government has to intervene more proactively.
Okay, yeah, that's true. The telecommunication sector has really advanced in this country, and like distinguished Toastmaster Bhanu highlighted, it can definitely leverage upon to connect someone from Rukum to a university in the United States, and that's an excellent example. Thank you, Toastmaster Bhanu. Now let's move on to Toastmaster Avish. I think I'd like to ask you a similar question to that of what I asked distinguished Toastmaster Moon earlier. So what do you think, have you seen effective communication and leadership the way that you envisioned earlier in your answer in your sector currently being practiced?
Absolutely. Banking is a very, very technical sector, and it is unique in the aspect that it supports all businesses in the economy. It is often called the backbone of the economy as well. Therefore, in the banking sector, there are two kinds of communications that you need to be, or we need to be very careful about. That is the communication with our employees. We want to ensure that all our employees are in the same pace as we are at the organization level. The reason why I'm talking about the employees is that the employees in Nepal, of course, no matter how digitized we might call ourselves, banking is still a brick and mortar. Therefore, and bankers are in the front line today and facing the same risk that doctors and medical professionals are facing at the moment. Therefore, at this juncture, it is very important for us to talk to our employees, to understand them, to be compassionate to them, and over-communicate, like I mentioned earlier, and also listen to them properly so that we understand them, but we are also there to train them and understand whether they are facing anxiety-related issues or they have any doubts regarding being infected. And we would need to have a business continuity plan, because we cannot say we are going to shut down the bank today. No, that cannot happen. The bank must run. Therefore, that is one important communication that we must have, and banks are in fact doing that very properly. I can see a lot of trainings, a lot of programs, a lot of motivation sessions on anxiety and mental disorder happening with our colleagues in the banking sector, and which has really helped. The second kind of communication is with our employees, with our customers, because the customers are the ones who are actually facing the crisis. We are the secondary, we are facing it in a secondary manner, because if our customers suffer, we suffer, but they are the ones who are facing it directly. And it is our job, and which we have been doing, we have been trying to be helpful to them, trying to understand problems that their balance sheets are facing, and trying to listen to them carefully, giving them more leverage, more time to pay back their loans. And we've been doing that in a right manner. And banking is the sector which all industries, all the media always look at. We are the focus of the economy, and we must not have a wrong step. We must not take a wrong step. We must be very careful. And as leaders, the banking sector has obviously played a very good important role in tackling, or at least facing, the crisis and helping things get back to what we call the new normal.
Thank you, Toastmaster Avish, for shedding light on how banks are coping to this situation and effectively communicating to shape the course of banking industry in future. I think we are almost it's almost time that we wrap up this discussion. If there is anything you'd like to share on how effective communication and leadership can be leveraged upon to give a different shape to our future, any one of you could please share a point or two, then we can possibly wrap up this discussion. If there's anything you'd like to share.
There is a true test of leadership being looked at from everyone. Only leadership can be tested when in the crisis. How sensibly leaders behave during this crisis. What are they doing to improve lives of so many people affected? So therefore, I think never in normal time leadership was at stake and was being noticed so well. So performance and underperformance of leadership is being watched by every day, by every commoners now.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, Toastmaster Avish.
My view also is that this is the true test of leadership, because every leader should be able to thrive in crisis. They must show the signs of resilience, and most importantly, they must know how to adapt. For example, the CEO of Johnson & Johnson, so what they did was, immediately when the pandemic started, they started investing billions of dollars in preparing for the, preparing medicines and vaccines. They didn't know whether they would get the vaccine or not, but at least they knew that they must invest in the right cause, and they immediately adapted, and that is key. Which is also paramount in our Toastmasters learning, because I remember every Toastmasters club in Nepal, every Toastmasters member in Nepal easily adapted to the crisis. They immediately had Zoom meetings, and we had a very good network, and if somebody had a problem, there was someone else to listen to. The mentor culture is really strong, so I really feel proud about that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, as they say, Toastmasters is where leaders are made. If you have something to share, Toastmasters.
I was going to say about leaders are made, because it is during the time like this that you don't only have leaders who are already in leadership positions who shine. It is the opportunity for people who have leadership qualities or want to hone leadership qualities to really show what they are made of, show their mettle, and shine and do what it needs to come out of this situation, not only for themselves but for their group, the community, and everyone. And I agree, Toastmasters really has adapted, and I think what we are learning in Toastmasters is really helpful for us to adapt in our workspace also. And I'm really glad I'm part of this.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Moon, Toastmaster Bhanu, and Toastmaster Avish for such an inspiring insights. As aspiring leader myself, I had a lot to take away from today, and I'm sure this feeling resonates with all our viewers today. Now, we have come to the end of this discussion, and it's time we reap what we sowed 2 months ago. But before that, let us again remember our supporters.
INVICTUS by Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International. Title sponsors: College of Business Management, Delhi Bazaar, Kathmandu; Nepal Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Harisiddhi, Lalitpur. अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको क्यान्सर रोगको सम्पूर्ण उपचार अब एकै छाना मुनि. Co-sponsor: Skin Arts Aesthetics, Discover the New You. Supported by 7 O'Clock Bakery Cafe Pulchok, Chia Pasa and Mates Premium. Media partner, JanataTelevision.
So, INVICTUS is actually a challenge that was open to both Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters community. So, the winners of INVICTUS will be announced today on both the categories. And for the benefits of everyone, let me announce what's in it for the winners. The winners of INVICTUS 2020 will each get annual membership sponsored at their home club if they are Toastmasters members, and annual membership sponsored at any clubs of Division O District 41 Toastmasters International if they are a non-Toastmaster. They will also be receiving gift vouchers worth 15,000 each from Skin Arts Aesthetics, and will receive certificates and trophies from Division O District 41 Toastmasters International. Apart from this, we also have gift hampers from Mates Premium for winner of Toastmasters category, and lunch or dinner coupon from two from Chiapasa for non-Toastmasters category. Also, we have a lot in store for us. Mates Premium is also providing gift hampers to volunteers who contributed to the success of this event, but those who were not sharing any leadership position in area or division at Toastmasters community of Nepal. Now, before we share the videos of top 6 finalists of INVICTUS 2020, I have a special thing to mention. I would like to announce the rising stars of this challenge. The rising stars of this challenge are Riva Khanal and Yuvragi Dangal. These were the 2 minor entries of this challenge who demonstrated exemplary public speaking skills and gave a stellar performance in their video. Miss Riva and Miss Yuvragi have each won a shopping voucher from 7 O'Clock Bakery Cafe for a cake of their choice. Congratulations, Miss Riva and Miss Yuvragi. You were really inspiring. Now with that, let's move on to announcing the finalists of INVICTUS 2020. As I mentioned earlier, we'll have finalists from 2 categories, 3 finalists from Toastmasters category and 3 finalists from non-Toastmasters categories. Today, when we will be broadcasting the finalists video, it won't be in any particular order, and we'll announce the winners at the end of this program. I would like to inform you, for the benefit of everyone, that there were certain eliminations from the challenge based on the contest rule of time and video content. Now, without any further ado, let's begin from the Toastmasters members category. The first finalist who has been able to reach the list of finalists, I must say, from Toastmasters category is Toastmaster Vivek Datta.
Let me check my Twitter handle. Oh, it's Mike Tyson who has tweeted. He tweets, "You get knocked down 100 times, you get up 100 times, and you learn 100 lessons." Whoa, inspiring, isn't it? Mike Tyson makes me remind of yet another boxer, Buster Douglas. Underdog Buster Douglas was all set to fight against the undisputed, undefeated World Heavyweight Champion Mike Tyson back in 1990. Dear viewers, the ring was all set. Everyone believed it was going to be an easy picking for Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson once said, "Everyone has got a plan until they get punched in their mouth." Now I'll tell you something, even life is going to land some punches, and we got to be resilient at that moment. Unfortunately, Many of us give up. But that was not the case with Douglas. He got knocked down in the 8th round of the match. Nobody knocked down by Mike Tyson ever could have got up. It was a 10 count. Douglas was laying down on the ring, stumbling, and the referee went 4, 3, 2, 1, ding ding ding. But Douglas managed to get up right on time, and he just went back and sat in the corner waiting for the next round. And at that moment the entire world was like, that's it! The next moment he is going to come, Mike Tyson is going to land some fierce punches back to back and all over. Let me tell you something. If it was easy, everyone would have done it. And if your life's got you backed up, I need you to do something that Douglas did. He started fighting back, and everyone got amazed, shocked. Douglas was passing punches back to back, bang, 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 and out of nowhere came that 4-shot combinations, boom, 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 boom. The undefeated Tyson was knocked down. What happened? Tyson was defeated. Many of us would have thought, why? Why would I have got up and just fought back? I would have lost it anyway. But for Douglas, his why was greater than that punch. His why was greater than his defeat. His why was greater than his tribulation. What would have you done if you had received that initial punch? I suggest go back and attack. Counter-attack. A few rounds troubleful in your life is only going to make you more resilient.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vivek. Now with that, we move on to the other finalist. Other finalist of Invictus 2020 is Toastmaster Vijaya Mishra.
When you look at me smiling, you might think that my life must be perfectly fine. Well, let me tell you one thing. I'm not here to prove myself how strong I am. I have my bad days too. Days where I sit and cry. Days where I doubt myself and want to give up. Days where I want to scream out loud for the things that I've lost in my life. I believe this happens to all of us. We will have people who disbelieve us. Situations which tries to knock us right down. But do we give up living? No, right? We just don't sit in one corner and wait for miracles to happen, do we? Don't you think we all have that power within ourselves to try, fail, learn and try harder? We don't realize it, the power. But trust me, we are doing it every single time. We take one step, then the next, one step at a time, tears, frustrations, another step, hurt, sadness, one more step, rejection, another step. That is resilience. Facing life challenges and bouncing back. The same decision we take every single day. Yes, resilience has pain, tolerance, scars, but they are the beautiful symbols of the battles that you and only you alone have fought and overcome. It's celebrating how perfect we are in our own imperfections. However, being strong doesn't have to be you fighting the battle all the time. Remember to be gentle to yourself. Love yourself. Don't push yourself. You don't have to prove yourself to others all the time. Learn to step back and take a break and breathe. And just because we see people strong, smiling, doesn't mean things are perfect on their side. Everyone has their own stories, their own battles. And every battle we fight, no matter how big or small, we can wear our medals for resilience. Medals for the victories for every time we fought and stood stronger. Yes, I am resilient. I am invincible. And so are you. After all, you don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have.
Thank you. That was Toastmaster Vijaya. Now we have the other finalists in Toastmaster Rahul Podar.
At age 14, a poor black rural girl gives birth to a premature baby who dies shortly after. This hapless girl had run away from her home at a tender age of 13 to save herself from continuously being victim of psychological and sexual abuse by her own cousin, uncle and family friends. Her horror story started when she was just 9 years old and was raped by her cousin. This poor girl's life was no less miserable when she was even younger, living in a small village in abject poverty. What if this was the reality of your early life? And what if I tell you the same girl went on to become the wealthiest African American woman of 20th century with a net worth of $3 billion and is acknowledged to be the world's most influential woman? Yes, this unbelievable story is of the greatest black philanthropist in American history, Oprah Winfrey. What do you think? After all those horrific and tragic incidents, what might have gone right in your life? Well, let's take few more examples. From Oprah Winfrey to J.K. Rowling, from Albert Einstein to Thomas Edison, from Amitabh Bachchan to Shah Rukh Khan, and the list goes on. All of them had two things in common. Number one, extreme adversity. And number two, unwavering willpower and unrelenting determination to rebuild their life. You and me, my friends, have one thing in common: adversity. The only thing that differentiates between us and them is how we choose to respond to adversity. Remember, when it hits you, you have three choices. Number one, let adversity break you. That is, you surrender to it and you live a victim's life. Number two, let adversity make you. That is, you struggle through it, but it reduces you as a person and you become bitter and aloof. Or option number three, you make adversity your biggest opportunity, exactly the way Oprah and others did. They used their willpower and determination to rebuild their life. Adversity, my friends, is inevitable. But when it hits you, remember you have a choice to use your willpower and determination to come out of debt and rebuild your.
We just watched the videos of 3 finalists from INVICTUS Video Speech Challenge of Toastmasters category, and now we move on to the finalists of non-Toastmasters category. The first finalist who has made it to the list is Mr. Iswar Chatkuli.
Once upon a time, in a forest, everything was going normal until a fine day. An unprecedented amount of rainfall occurs in the forest. So the whole forest gets flooded and the scene was devastating. There were piles of dead bodies all over the floors. But amid all this, a small insect known as fire ant managed to survive the flood. Guess how? An individual fire ant can barely survive on its own. But the colony of fire ants have a remarkable group intelligence. As soon as they sense the rain, they cluster together to form a sphere which can float in the water. And so, the fire ant not only manages to survive, but it takes advantage of the rain and propagates itself to new different lands by floating in the water. In fact, if we observe nature from a single-celled organism to a large ecosystem, we can see that resilience is the inherent property of every living system. Throughout the 5,000 years of human history, civilization have came across several devastating situations, from floods to disease to natural calamities. But after all this, history shows us that humanity has always bounced back harder. In these times of COVID-19, which has challenged our social and economic structure, the story of Fire Ant reminds us to trust more in our solidarity. I believe that through awareness, acceptance, openness, and cohesiveness, we can not only manage to get out of this situation, but also make our society a more sustainable and stronger than ever. Thanking Toastmasters Club for organizing this competition. It's me, Ishwar Chatpuli, signing off. Thank you very much.
That was Ishwar Chatpuli. Now the second person who has made it to the list of finalists is Miss Preeti Cha.
Nobody escapes pain, fear, or suffering, but yet from pain can come happiness, from suffering can come strength, and from fear can come courage, if only one has the virtue of resilience. Hello everyone, this is Preeti Cha, and today I'm going to speak on the topic resilience, the art of acceptance. To begin with, let us imagine a simple scenario. Let's say this is a tall mountain, this is a huge rock, and you are required to push the rock up to the mountain with all the power and conviction. But every time it reaches to the top, it ultimately falls down to the bottom, and again you push it to the top, only to see it fall down, and repeat this process on and on for an eternity. Yes, this is the story of a Greek hero, Sisyphus, extracted from the essay The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Campus. Sisyphus, according to the essay, was punished by gods for an eternity to push a rock up to the mountain, only to see it roll back down to the bottom, and repeat this process on and on forever. Now, we can use this analogy with human life. Human life is no different. Every day we are pushing some kinds of rocks. The rocks of our goals, ambitions, relationships, mental stability, physical well-being. And with all the power and hard work, we manage to push the rock up to the top. But does it always stay there like that? Absolutely not. It will fall down. It will fall down many times, not just once. It will fall down because of our lack of stability, because of natural calamities, because of pandemic, and so and so. But do we get disheartened? Do we lose all the hope and courage seeing that rock fall down to the bottom? Absolutely not. Let's look at the story of Sisyphus. What was interesting about it is every time he saw the rock go to the bottom, he again gathered all the strength, conviction, and again started afresh, anew. That power, that ability to fight back is what is resilience. That power which we develop in ourselves, that mental power, is called resilience. But how do we get that resilience? It's not any kind of miracle, or nobody is born with it. The first and foremost answer to it is acceptance. The moment Sisyphus accepted that life is also about pain and suffering, life is also about hard work, life is not always happiness, and for him, life was just about pulling the rocks up to the mountain. The moment he accepted that, he gained ultimate happiness, and he had the power, the courage to start over again. That's what happens with humans. The moment we accept that life is not a bed of roses, life is also thorns, suffering, and crying. The moment we accept this and learn to live with it is the moment we will gain resilience.
That was Preeti Cha, and the final person who has made it to the list of the finalists is Miss Rinky Tibriwal.
When you know there is nothing left but to fight, with everything you got to get back up, there's a word to it: resilience. If you're alive, you're going to have to, or you have already had to deal with some difficult times. Let's say you start a business, but you fail. You love a person the most, but the person does not love you back. You lose the person who you have loved wholeheartedly. You have been bullied or have been a victim of something or the other. Adversity does not discriminate. In these tough situations, we either choose to accept, something the way it is, or we choose to fight. I'll give you 2 examples of my life. First, when I chose to accept, and the second one when I chose to fight. First was when I loved a person wholeheartedly, but the person did not love me back. I thought my world has fallen apart and now there is nothing left. Soon I realized that maybe it was just not meant to be. But it's okay, and I moved on. Sometimes things are not under our control and we have to let it go. We have to accept the fact that it is useless to wait for a ship at the airport because it is impossible. You have to move on. The time might get tougher, but you have to keep yourself strong. The second case is from my childhood memories. I was a shy and a very low confident child. I was bullied by my own English teacher. I was bullied by my fellow classmates for not being able to speak English. I was humiliated. I was isolated. I was not invited into any gatherings. In fact, I used to be blamed for something that I did not do because they knew that I would not be able to defend myself. But I did not let them suppress me. I did not let them belittle me. I fought. I learned English. During the period, I was made fun of for speaking wrong English, but I did not let it bother me. Gradually, I turned out to be a better speaker than they were. I climbed mountains not so the world can see me, but I can see the world. And now I am all right in front of you sharing my experience. Remember, when your time is weak, you are not weak. When you learn to fight your difficulties, when you learn to learn from your difficulties, you become resilient.
Congratulations to all the finalists. It's time that we've all been waiting for, and I don't want to test your patience anymore. It's time we announce the winners of INVICTUS 2020. The winner of INVICTUS 2020 Toastmaster category will be receiving sponsored membership from Division O District 41, Toastmasters International at their home club, gift voucher worth 15,000 from Skin Arts Aesthetics, and gift voucher from 7 O'Clock Cafe, and also a gift voucher from Mates Premium. So the lucky person who has won this challenge from Toastmasters category is Toastmaster Vijaya Mishra. Many congratulations to you, Toastmaster Vijaya Mishra. Now let's move on to the second category of INVICTUS 2020. This category is where we are announcing the winner of non-Toastmasters category, and they will also be provided with membership sponsored by Division O District 41 Toastmasters International in any one of the clubs inside it. They will also be provided with gift hamper worth 15,000 from Skin Arts Aesthetics, gift hamper from 7 O'Clock Bakery Cafe Pulchok, and a gift hamper of lunch or dinner coupon from Chiapasa. So without any further delay, let me announce the winner of this category. The winner of INVICTUS 2020 Non-Toastmasters category is Miss Rinky Tibriwal. Many congratulations to Miss Rinky and Toastmaster Vijaya for being the winners of INVICTUS 2020. Thank you very much, everybody, for your overwhelming support throughout this INVICTUS journey. Each and every video that were submitted for the challenge were an inspiration to us. With your due permission, we will be broadcasting the videos of the finalists and also the special mentions in our Facebook page, YouTube page, and also our websites. I think it's time I also thank our INVICTUS team, our district team led by distinguished Toastmasters Nimish Joseph, Ranjit Acharya, Ayanpal and Ankur Yadav, Nepal Toastmasters Office team led by District Parliamentarian Distinguished Toastmaster Suman Shakya, Division Council led by our Division Director Toastmaster Avish Acharya, the area directors of all the areas under Division 4, INVICTUS Communication team, INVICTUS editorial team, media and PR team, and lastly the design team. I would like to request everybody to watch your names in the credits. Likewise, Finally, thank you to the title sponsors, College of Business Management, Dili Bazar, Kathmandu, Nepal Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Harisiddhi, Lalitpur, co-sponsor, Skin Arts Aesthetics, Discover the New You, and supporters, 7 o'clock Bakery Cafe, Pulchok, Lalitpur, Chiapasa, and Mates Premium. And finally, thank you very much, Janata Television. Thank you all for your 1 hour of companionship. We will see you again with similar programs in future. Till then, keep rising, keep smiling, and keep watching Janata Television.
I accept the mission.
I was still standing.
INVICTUS by Division O, District 41, Toastmasters International. Title sponsors, College of Business Management, Dili Bazar, Kathmandu, Nepal Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Harisiddhi, Lalitpur. अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरको क्यान्सर रोगको सम्पूर्ण उपचार अब एकै छाना मुनि. Co-sponsor, Skin Arts Aesthetics, Discover the New You. Supported by 7 o'clock Bakery Cafe, Pulchok, Chiapasa, and Mates Premium. Media partner, Janata Television.